Okay, so we're looking at chord progressions, key of C, stroke A minor. And we're going to look at using the chord inversions. We're going to use our root chord first and second inversions. And we'll also look at voicing names and where they occur. So let's look at the first exercise, which is C, G, A minor, F. This is our root. It's a 1, 5, 6, 4 progression. So this is a very common progression, like the 4-chord song. But we're going to play this with our root, first inversion for the G, first inversion for the A minor, and second inversion for the F. And the reason why you'll see this is a great example of where inversions are handy, especially if the chord progression is either quite technical or quite quick, and then you want the changes to be as smooth as possible. So let's look at the first one, which is C major, C, E, and G. And just by bringing the C, E, and down to a B and D, we make G major. Then what we do is we take the whole shape up, one note each, which gives us A minor, C, E, and A. And just by moving that E into an F, we've got F major, second inversion. So I'm going to let this run and see if you can keep up with the chords. And if you need to pause, practice it a few times and keep coming back to it. Try and master the changes on this first example. Right, there you go. So that is the first example. Now we're going to look at the same chord progression. It's exactly the same. But you might see it written down like this. And the reason why you might see it written down like this is because if we're playing just with the right hand and our lowest note has changed, even though we know that that's still a G and that's still an A minor, that's still an F, you might see it written down like this. They're also known as slash chords, and it's the lower note is designating the name of the chord. So for example, we're playing a G chord here, but the lowest note is a B. So that means it'll be a G/B, for example. And some songs have specifically those chord voicings. It means you need that note in the lowest note, or that chord has that note as the lowest note. So G, in other words, has B as the lowest note. A minor has C as the lowest note. F has C as the lowest note. And the thing is, even though that is still a C, G, A minor, and F progression, it has a certain sound because of where the root note is. So if you start introducing the left hand, then you really, if you see these chords, the left hand has to play the B and the G, the C and the A minor, and the F. Obviously in the F it has to be a C as well. This is what that sounds like, which is the same as the one before, so it sounds no different. But notice now the lowest note playing a part in the sound of the chord. So I'll move on, and when we look at the next example, this is a same idea but using a chord progression in A minor, using slash chords or inverted chords with the voicing name written above it. So we're playing A minor, and we're literally just moving that E up to an F. So we're playing an F major now, but notice the A staying in the lowest note. And this E minor shape, where we're playing from the G, B, and the E, just by moving it into a G major and bringing that E down to a D. But notice the G's in the lowest note, so it's an E minor / G. That's if we need the voicing to specifically have that root note. This can be covered with the left hand. You'll see this in a minute, but try and play along with this one. This is a good exercise to try your inversions in a different way. So I'll let this run. Okay, so it's another version of what we've got here, but in the key of A minor. And when we talk about A minor, we're just talking about in the key of C. A minor is the sixth chord of the key. We can start the progression on that one, and it becomes the key of A minor, because A minor is the darkest sounding chord in the key. And when we talk about minor keys, we're generally talking about starting it from the sixth chord of the key. This is something that will get explained later anyway. All you need to know is it's still the key of C effectively, but we're starting on A minor. Okay, so let's look at the last exercise. So this is now putting in the left hand as the root note. Now notice there's no slash chords here, and I'm still using inversions. Well, the point is that my right hand is playing inverted chords to make it easier, but my left hand is keeping to the root notes of the chord to keep it as a root chord. If we were playing these with slash chords, then the left hand would have to play different notes. So when the left hand comes into play, it does make a difference on the sound of the chords. So ideally, if you see a chord progression and it's C major, G major, B minor, A minor, whatever the chord is, and it's not written down as a slash chord, you can still use inverted chords in your right hand, but the left hand would be playing the root note, either root note or root chord, depending on the song and the octave you're playing in. So this example will get you used to that, because it can be tricky at first, not following, mirroring what your right hand's doing. So my left hand is playing A, F, E and G, while I'm playing A minor. Then I'm playing my F, which is inverted, E minor is inverted, but G's not, back to root chord there. So have a go at playing these chords, and you'll see, in fact, if we look at here with the F chord, you'll see that it's just the A, C and F. So we've just got our first inversion, and you look at it here with the E minor, which is starting on a B. So yet again, we're going to play our first inversion there as well. And then we're back to G major, which is our root inversion. Okay, so I'm going to let that run and play along. So if you notice the difference in sound between the two chord progressions, there is a difference, and it's just on how you're hearing the order of the notes. And some songs will specifically want one thing or the other. And when you bring the left hand in, it does make a difference where you put that in terms of what sort of sound the chords are producing. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that, and practice away, and I will be here soon with another video.